All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is Monday, February 12th, 2018. This is the Monday evening webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Using Stealth and Predictor in Fast Markets. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, what I'm going to show you tonight, that is a little bit of what kind of went on today, as a matter of fact, but I want to show you how to do it with utilizing some of the tools. Okay, one of the tools that I like to use, and I know a lot of people do, is these predictors. Okay, now if you were looking at this chart right here on the right, you'll notice that you really don't have a trade setting up right this very moment with predictor, right? Unless you had happened to have just seen that this was in chop and decided to go long on a magenta one, but that's not the way they were designed. You know, when you're going with the trend, you're looking for, you know, for instance, when this has got the magenta or a rose color or the red line, the mid band, you're really looking for bounce into predictors, roll over, and back down, okay? And that's what you're doing on that. Now, on this side over here, you're either looking for another predictor like this right here, or even a change. And, you know, for instance, if this does happen to change and go a different direction, you'll look for a different color predictor. Now, does everybody know what I'm talking about when I say that you need to stay with the particular trend with predictor? You know, in other words, that you're really looking for white predictors to be shorts and green predictors to be the longs. Okay, if you look back on here, for instance, let me back this up. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold, by the way. But you'll see time and time again that these actually work. I mean, this is overnight, for instance, on gold. If you just got up and turned your predictor on, you probably wouldn't have taken the first one. I would never take one straight out of the 12 o'clock at night type. But what about that one? What about that one? That one? That one? This one wouldn't have worked. Okay, you might have gotten a scalp, maybe not. It doesn't look like you would have gotten a scalp. But then you don't take another predictor, white, unless it actually goes higher, which is this predictor here. Okay, so, you know, you could have taken this predictor here even, but keep in mind that once they start really doing this right here, like we've talked about lots and lots of times, when they start checking this area out right here, see this thrust down, retrace thrust, that means they're trying to break resistance, doesn't it? Okay, so, you know, you'd have to see if this actually goes on up. And if you remember when we called a trade this morning, this actually did go up. But we're going to do it the fair way and just simply do the predictors and show you how well that works. And if we get time, we'll go into the stealth type trade. Okay, but let's just turn on, for instance, let's see. Let's do, what do you think about another white predictor on gold? What do you think? Anybody? Want to try that? Because it could work and it might not, but we could certainly try it, right? Okay, let's just do a predictor. And we're looking for shorts. Okay, and by the way, you can actually even do this with predictor if you want. You can simply set both or turn on the little require trend and the auto LSR, which means that it will alternate between short and long. You know, that way you would simply get in the next trade if it happens to go the other way. So let's just do this for the fun of it. I'm going to just do a couple. And then on this one, we're still short. We've got a green background, but I'm going to still do it if it's got a white predictor. So let's go with white predictor on here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on also. And then you can't turn on, you notice you can't turn on your long at all. Let's do that one with 2 also. Let's just see if the predictors will work out for us. And you, by the way, you can also put a lighter stop, on something like this. Let me slow that down a little bit because that's a little fast, and I don't like close on predictors. I like touches. Hope I didn't miss that one. It looked pretty good. We got it anyway. Okay, let's see if it works. One thing about a trade, they don't always work, right? But a lot of them do. Well, we got a little bit, not much, but a little bit. Since this is sideways, I'm going to fade a little bit. You can kind of see a trend line right through there. See it? So we're not going to try to just go gusto yet because we're in a range. There's no question about that. So, in range type trading, you probably want to be careful. Okay, now notice how that predictor fired because I had it set for touch plus 2. Okay, so we got like $95 already, and it's backing up on us a little bit. At probably, I would bring my stop literally right across there. See why? Lightning. And will it get us? We'll see. It got us. Okay. Now let's see if we can stay with predictor and do another one. It's still got a white predictor. We got $75. That's not too shabby. Big difference in how fast YM moves versus gold, isn't it? Gold's not moving at all, and yet YM's moving. Now, of course, you could box this in. What I'm going to show you tonight, though, is more how to, possibly trade. There's a predictor right up here. It's saying that we should get another trade right up there. Let's see if we do. May take a few minutes. They're pretty good at looking at the price action, though. And they can draw on charts like I can, and sometimes even better. Here we go. We got touch plus 2. Predictor right up here. No predictor yet on this one. Notice that you got a magenta. The white one's way over here. It looks like it's out of time to me. We'll see if it prints another one. Everybody see how to use your predictor? Just simply set predictor. Set it for however you want it to do, short or long, or with the trend. When you're in chop like this, be cautious because $75 earned is better than $300 lost, right? We just got it. Wow, that one was up there. Oh, I know why I got that many. I'm on auto. See, we got like 6 contracts right there. We might not want that. Let's turn the auto off. We'll turn it on each time instead. We'll keep them if it doesn't take us out. Put my stop just above that swing, exit on close. Remember, if you use auto, that means it will fire on touch. Boom, boom, boom. You can get all the way up to your max contracts. And just remember, if it does that, then the best way to do is to protect your coin fairly quickly, okay? This looks like this is going to be a-okay, doesn't it? See how that predictor worked quite nicely? Notice we don't even have a red background or anything, but that predictor nailed it and that predictor nailed it. This predictor nailed it. See, if you would have gotten that one earlier. We got 2 left. Let's look to the left to trade the right. Let's at least try to get down to here. See it right there? Now I'd be tightening my stop by now. Probably, let's see if it'll push down one more time. No, it hadn't made a swing yet. I'm going to give it a little wiggle room. If it'll pop down below here, we'll pull our stop up. That's doing it. That's good enough. See how that made a fresh new low? And then just put your stop just above the swing. If you want a nice tight stop, they'll sometimes take it, but we're up like, $600 anyway, so that's not too shabby of a trade actually. Okay, we've got this predictor set on close. Let's put it on touch. May not get a touch. No, I think we missed it. Yeah, we missed it. Okay, now let's say that you weren't in anything just yet. Okay, now keep in mind all of our other rules work. Okay, you're going to continue to still be able to use all the rules. Like for instance, if this predictor fired here but didn't make a lower low than here, I don't really trust that. So I'm going to put a nice tight stop on it, just in case. And let's see, we have that on auto too. We probably don't want that either. Let's go ahead and turn that off. And we're going to try to just get in this little range here. Try to take some coin. See if we can get down to that swing. Notice they are making a low, a high. I almost tried to take out that swing. That makes me nervous when they do that because you think they're going to take it out. And they usually do, by the way. Let's go ahead and tighten our stop, mid-band. And notice that you got a really, really nice run. Unfortunately, I didn't move my target, so we're out of this trade totally. And this may run. Does anybody remember this one this morning? This thing ran like a big dog. Sometimes, by the way, you've got to actually grab it when it gets into stealth again, because that's a good area. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that stop even a little bit more. It's not taking out that low. Done. All right. Now let's see. We've got a white predictor. We're going to go for, with that high or low, I'm going to go for either way on a predictor, whichever one it sets up. Now notice you just got another predictor right there. Now, could it go higher? Absolutely it could, and it a lot of times does. But look at that. Just had that on, and that happened to just fire for us and got us a good monster. Nice trade again. See how that works? I'm going to put my stop just right there just in case this thing is deciding to go up. Everybody see how that works? Predictor. I just had that one turned on, and what did it do? It fired. Let's see if we get another one, if we get another predictor at all. Now, if you remember right, in our room this morning, we call gold right here, just above right here on the long side. So let's see if it'll come down here and kiss this. Because remember, we're talking about predictors versus actually watching the chart too. So I'm going to show you how to watch the chart, but also use predictors. Look at that thing go. Another predictor, by the way. And like I said, you want to be careful of one thing, and that is you do not want to, basically you don't want to leave this thing on, well, just lost it. You don't want to leave this thing on an auto type feature, without really watching it, because it will go to your max contracts, okay? Because on auto, that's what it's doing. It's just looking to add until you tell it not to. When do you use the blue magenta predictors? You actually don't, Daniel, on your question. The blue predictors are not really to be used. That looks like that got another predictor, didn't it? Will it work? We'll find out. Sure looks like it is. Let's go ahead and tighten the stop. Tighten the stop. And looks like it got us, and it went with another predictor again, and that stopped us out. Now, when you get a predictor and it takes out the top of this predictor, you want to start watching it, because that's usually, see how YM does right here? That's more than likely going to start heading up right off this line right here. Okay, let's see if we get the other direction on the predictors now. Let's just wait a few minutes and see what comes. You want to see if we can get a predictor over here? We got 230 on gold anyway, but we got like 20, 26, I guess, on this one. About left on that one. There's our predictor. Touch plus 2 is fine with me. And I'm going to do like 3. That's another good one on predictor. I forgot to turn that on. Doggone it. See that? Perfect predictor. Let's wait for another one. We'll see if we get another one. There's another one setting up. And then it went up. So what do you think after that? Guess what? Green predictor. I got this going like, well, I've only got it going like 10 times normal speed, but look at that predictor right there. See that? That one right there would have nailed it. You want to see if another one will nail it? We'll find out. You want to turn it on? We're getting a little late. Let's see if we can get one. Oh, now keep in mind one thing also. If you don't use the required trend on predictor, it will fire off the bottoms of these predictors here. So I'm going to close this out. Let me show you why. You want to use the required trend if you're trying to get a predictor like a green. Okay. The reason for that is because it can also fire the same trade off of a blue one. Okay, like see, like right here, this should go ahead and fire a trade off this predictor unless we just missed it. Might have just missed it. Looks like we just missed it. And we may miss this one because it looks like it's out of time. Nope, there's another one. I'm going to go 3. You fire. There's your predictor again. Will it work? Nope, doesn't look like it. Yep, it did. Trust it. Okay, there it fired on gold too. Now, I'm not saying just to go willy-nilly and just turn on 5 charts and let this do this, but I can tell you this, that if you really learn to watch the predictors on these charts, you're going to find out it can be a really good friend. Now, you don't have to take it like I just did with the auto type feature or even the required trend or anything. You can actually just watch the predictors and box them in, because that way also works, right? Because what happens when you box it in? You're a little bit more sure of your trade, aren't you? You're a little bit more sure when that happens, I think. See how gold does here. Now notice I don't have predictor on right now, but what if I did? Anybody? What would it be doing for us right now? It would have just made another trade. See that? Now remember, if you turn on, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. If you turn on just predictor period, just remember that this is just a region. So if you think of a region, think of it like this. This is the T part of your region, right? I'm going to just go ahead and do a little drawing text here. We'll just draw a T on here. Big old T. And probably needs to be in black. Or at least navy or something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this and paste it and bring it down here and change that one to a B. Okay, always think of your region. I'm gonna pause this totally because you can clearly see this does a pretty good job. All right, always think of even a predictor as a region. It's got a top of a box and a bottom of the box. This T button and this B button right here is exactly what tells us what to do. Just because the top of a box and the bottom of the box has it defaulted at long out and short O does not necessarily have to be it. You can even change the bottom to a long I. You can change the top to a short out. I mean, you can do anything with it. You just got to kind of know where your trade's going and everything. We made this really versatile. The most of the time, though, most people simply set it for long out, short out, and they use the T and B buttons like we teach. Let's see. Jim says, I've noticed the predictors show up in different places when you change the days to load. Why do they do that? And which one is the right one? They change places when you change the days to load. That may just be simply the way they do historical data, but in real time, I think they draw in the perfect spots. When we look at them in the room, to give an example, they seem to be just spot on in the right place to me. So keep in mind, the only time you'd really want to use what we call the other part of the predictor is you only want to use it if you wanted to actually do the region like out of it. But keep in mind, those are resistance areas, so they're not going to normally go through those predictors and give you a trade. In other words, what I'm talking about here is if you just had this turned off, this turned on, okay, then what this would do, if I was starting to get a trade right now, let's say I had this set for touch plus 2, it would fire 2 ticks above that line because it doesn't know that I'm not looking for that bottom predictor or these bottom predictors. It's just looking at them like regions. Okay, so that's one thing when you do predictors, you do want to turn on that deal right there. Unless you see a chance for this to break this and, let's just go for it type thing, because it is a region. This is what this is doing on this chart. It's drawing this region right here, just like that. What is the difference if you only check require midband or require midband LSR MB? Can you please explain that? Well, Chris, on your question there, what this does right here is automatically leaves this feature on. So if you have this set for LSR like this right here, this should leave it to where the LE, SE, and RE can be, just stay on, in other words. Okay, with just the required trend only, it's simply going to look for the green predictors only or the white predictors in the case of a short. But it should only do one trade and then shut off. That's the way it's designed anyway. We're testing the daylights out of it. There's so much to Object Trader now, that we have to test. Each time I get a new one, we got to make sure that none of the code broke anything else. And we find it, it does pretty well on it. But, there's occasionally times that, a new version will come out and, you might have a little bit of a glitch or something. By the way, we're not teaching this tonight or anything, but isn't that a perfect trade? Phantom trade. And keep in mind that when you take a phantom trade, you don't have to take it right when it comes down and kisses phantom or this line here. Wait till it does its thing and breaks the little swing. It's right there. You get in long and boom, off you go. Okay, that's if you're doing a phantom. You can also box them in where, you just kind of box it and move the box, and finally it'll take it. Okay, let's see what, now watch, I'll show you. See how that actually shorted that? Let me show you why that did that. Notice that we didn't have this on. Basically what it was, okay, see you just had a long off of your predictor there. Let's go ahead and let it kill itself here just a second. I'm going to go ahead and tighten the stop because YM was moving like crazy at this particular time. That's the open of the bell. That is not a time to be trading YM. Let's let it go ahead and die. There you go. All right, let's go back to gold though. We're still in our predictor trade so far. Let's see if it works. And keep in mind, you've always got to realize though that even on a predictor, notice how you have like this little lightning dance down so far. Okay, this looks to me like support. See that right there to the left? I called that in the room this morning because that was support. See how it bounced? But you've got to be willing to hold it to that support. See how much you'd give up if you didn't? Then that turned into a monster nice trade. Remember? Called that one live in the room also this morning. Predictors can make a difference in your trading, I think, really, really well. Especially, if you're more conservative, like I say, I'm going to stop this for just a moment to show you something. Let's say that you, rather than getting filled here like I just set this predictor touch plus 3, okay, what if instead you decided to do this? To do this where you actually just watch it, see where you have like a 1, 2, 3 reversal, takes out that candle, a little less risky trade than something that's, just simply stair stepping down, because until something stops stair stepping down, you don't know if it's going to stair step down a lot further, do you? Even on the smaller side, this is what they do. They're constantly doing this. They won't take out the high, and then they'll come down again. And then you look and see support and you go, oh, that's where it should bounce. But you don't really know it's going to even bounce there until, let's say that it does something like this. Comes back to resistance, like right across here. Does something like that. And then all of a sudden does this. Not all of a sudden even, but just does it to where it breaks that little swing. See, this is stair stepping down. That's stair stepping up. And that's what you see right here too. You've got your little thrust down, little retrace, little micro moves. And trend lines are really good at that, by the way. But keep in mind, you also don't want to box so late that, let's say that, for instance, that you decided, well, you know what, I'm not going to get in this trade until like right here, to give an example. Let's say that you saw this swing. You said, okay, this is my swing here, and I'm going to box it like that. Well, that can be a dangerous trade because the whole idea is to make profit. And where would your stop have to be on this chart? Well, on this particular one, I'd put it right here to begin with. See this where my swing is? But you don't always get that. So when you break out of a box like this, your stop would have been all the way down here at first. And you also have to calculate how far is your target, and is that good enough to get you a decent trade? But this was a little bit better entry than that, wasn't it? Not much, but this was the best entry that I actually called in the room, because we called this on this bar right here this morning on gold. And what I did on my son's account, as a matter of fact, is I took 2, and then I added 1 when it broke that trend line. And then it actually even came back and did another little micro kiss, and I actually bought another one. And when it gets up here to that top, you take some off, Like let's say that you had like, 2 to give an example, and you see it come up here and you want to go ahead and protect it. That's a smart trading. You always think, well, doggone it, I take my profit off here and it goes on up through it. But it doesn't always go up through it. What does it do? It actually comes back first a little bit. See there? See how it hit that predictor right there? And now it should take out that top. But it might not right off the bat. We'll see. And I'd probably put my stop right under here now. But what I do a lot of times, and this can cost you some money sometimes, but if you've got 2 contracts left, you can always do this too. Or you can do something like this and actually leave both on and then run like a sniper line or something like that to take out one contract if they happen to break like that line, to give an example. That can be a way to save some. You just put a sniper line, put a short below with one contract, and then hit enter and turn that on. And if that closes below that line, then it would get you out of one. And see, that way you can stack up some decent money on that, because a lot of times they'll run like this. Then you just move it, see, and hit enter again. And like that, see there. Now that was showing you a little bit more how to add to a trade and also how to protect a trade. And I'd even move this again just in case for my one off. Now that looks like that's going to pull back to me now. That's 3 candles back. That's probably going to take you out. But where's your next trade on this chart? Anybody? How about, let's just close it. How about a predictor? Let's see, waited for that bar to close up to get in. Jim, on this one, yes. Yeah, but keep in mind why we did that too. Because see, when we got in the room and everything, you didn't know this was really heading up yet. Let me show you. Real good tip to always watch for. When they make this dash down, they make a nice swing. Usually a good swing, a good, 10 ticks or so like this one is. And then all the way down and take out this low with a good amount. That's what I consider to be your trend changer. Okay, so what you're looking for in a case like that is you just basically draw a line on your chart. Okay, now until they take that out, you're shorting resistance. See how that short happened at that predictor right there? But then watch as the market kept moving. Watch what happened when we got closer to 8 o'clock. Watch it finally take out that line. See there? See, it took that out. So what are you looking for on the trade? You're looking for the pullback. And you got to look at your chart, high, low, higher, high, just like we're seeing right now. Draw it. So you had this nice big thrust up, this nice little pullback, and a nice little thrust up again. So right this very moment, where's support on this chart? It's right there. So when we drew a line in the room this morning, that's where it hit. Everybody see that? Where they've been, they'll check. Now, could you have actually gotten this trade even earlier? Absolutely. If, for instance, we had the little time trader type deal, if you saw this happening, in real time. But the only thing is, you weren't real sure if this was going to go down at that time. But at the open of the market, you are looking for very possible trend changes and things like that, because it happens all the time, even though oil is the one that opened. But where you can really tell this actually changed trends was when it thrust up, it pulls back with a higher low, and then it thrusts up. That's a 1, 2, 3, and then you're looking for a pullback. So see, it broke the resistance that was over here by a good amount. Then it comes back and checks support. That's why these type of trades are so good, because you couldn't have gotten a better trade than this gold this morning. This was a good, $750 trade real easily. And based on good old predictors and mid-bands, some of my favorite. Let's see if we can get another predictor just for the fun of it. We'll do 3 again. We're going to put a tight stop if this doesn't take out this top first. We'll see. If it takes it out a little bit, we'll be okay. See if we can get a pullback. Now keep in mind, this could just run too. And if it does, it just does it without us. We got to have a pullback. Let me speed it up just a little bit. And like I said, tonight I'm teaching more how to use predictors. The predictor was right there also. You could have gotten that one too. Let's see if we can get another one. Got predictor. And the reason, oh, by the way, the reason that didn't do that one, we had predictor set on close. You would have had to gone inside predictor, close back outside it to get that one. I like touch. See if we can get a predictor. But it would have nailed that one. And you know, another thing I want to mention too, and I mention this a lot in the room. I know it probably gets like a broken record, but sometimes repetition is your best friend. Because the one thing that I have noticed talking to individual traders after the room closes and things like that, where they will end up losing their money, if they lose money that day, is in that stinking first part of the market where it moves so fast that nobody can diagnose it quick enough. It bounces off your, you know, by the time you think of a line, they're already bouncing off of it. You know, it's that crazy. And the bad thing about that is when they're moving that quickly, if you get on the wrong side of that with like 3 contracts, to give an example, let's say you have a 15 tick stop on YM and you start to see a trade, and you know, by the time you even click it, you literally just get nailed. And that's what happens when, you know, they do the kind of whipping around and some of the garbage that they're doing. And you know, it's just part of the game right now because, you know, there's so much going on in the world, plus, you know, the Fed raising rates and things. You know, it'll be amazing to see what they're going to do after a $4.5 trillion, you know, addition to the budget. I'm wondering how that's going to be taken by most everybody. So, you know, we'll see what happens totally. Okay, let's see. We just got a trade, didn't we? I'll go ahead and tighten the stop just in case. Let's just do a few for the fun of it and see if we can just get some predictors and not even worry about so much anything more than just some dollars. That's saying predictors where that should hit its head, so I'm going to put a target right there. See, that's predictor. Got it. Tighten my stop. And then we're going to try another predictor. If this goes up, we're happy with it. That's fine with me. This may go up quite a bit higher. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and we'll turn on lightning instead. Come on. That's what you hate, is any give back at all. Nobody likes it. There you go. There you go. Finally got a little swing you can put your stop at. Okay. Let's just pretend that you didn't catch that trade at all. Okay. Let's just say that, you know, that wasn't even in your cards at all at that time. Let's just turn it off and let's see if we can get another one. Let's just wait and see if we can get another one. Now keep in mind, I would have stayed in that trade, you know I would. But let's go ahead and just see if we can get one. Predictor. There it's showing up. That predictor saying, I predict you come right down and come really close to touching the top of my little ellipse here. Touch +2. Let's see if we get something. Notice how that added big time to the bottom line because of that, those auto additions, but I'm not recommending anybody go 6 contracts. There you go, you just got a predictor. Let's see if the bar closes up. Yep. Yep, I think I'll put my stop just underneath the swing now. It needs to actually take out this swing to do it. See here to the left, this little micro swing. But if you want to protect yourself, see, I'm only risking 5 ticks. There you go. Another predictor trade. Barely took out the top. What do you think? Where would you put your stop now? Tighten it up now? I would think so. See it? We're almost too late. Little lightning swing. If it takes it, it takes it. We'll do another predictor. Anytime you get a high, a low, and a higher high, go for that next predictor. Because notice how even over here, when this one fired, see, you had a high, a low, a higher high, so you got a predictor. High, predictor. High, predictor. Just don't go too many times if they barely take out these tops and start going sideways. We'll turn on predictor again, but not right now because, see, basically, you can either do it manually like I'm doing right now, or you'd want to turn on that required trend because you don't want to accidentally get long on a blue predictor. That's not good. That's usually your outer limits, so to speak. It looks like they're going to take us. Anytime they kind of force that like that, where you can kind of feel it, they're usually going to get you anyway. I usually click close, but we'll let it ride on that. Okay, another predictor. We got a high, a low, and a higher high, so we'll see if we can trust this predictor right here. Think we can trust it? We'll see. Where would your stop be if you got in this predictor? Anybody? May not get this one. It looks like it just missed it. Yep, I think it just missed it. So far it has anyway. May still get it though. Now you can still box in, by the way, because we missed a predictor, but let's just play the predictors tonight just to see what they do. Because do you really care here and there if you miss a trade, or would you rather have good trades that come to you? Now if this takes out this top, we'll try another predictor. See, we missed that one. For some reason, that must have been 3 ticks. May still get it. Maybe out of time by now, too. If it's thinking about another predictor, it won't fire that one because it's in the process of giving it thought of where to draw another one. Now, if it doesn't draw it before, it can still sometimes fire it, but you gotta understand that when it gets past it like this, sometimes it will not fire it because it's already got that next predictor in mind. See, it had another predictor in mind. And that didn't come close enough to that one, so let's see if we can get another trade. Mercy. Just be that way. Now, we would have gone ahead and gotten that anyway because it's right on our line, but I'm going to show you predictor tonight. See if we can get us some predictor trades. One reason that I like to run the webinars with this replay data, keep in mind we weren't even open after this is 10:30 in the morning, so we're already closed at that time. So this wasn't any trades here that we called. Let's just see if predictors work. But rather than chasing them, watch what'll happen when you do what most traders do. They'll go, gosh, this is going up. So they jump in, and watch what'll happen to that trade. More than likely, it'll hit its head. You get in at the wrong spot, and it'll take your coin from you. Watch it. See there? That's what most people do. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to wait for the thrust and the pullback. That's got a higher high again by just barely. But even when it's barely like that, I'll trust the predictor. Let's see if it works. See if we can get one. Let's see. I'm going to turn predictor on again. Go touch +2. Let's see if we can get a predictor. Well, it looks like we got one. Did we want it there? Well, we'll find out. Object Trader said, yeah, that's a predictor, so I'm going to take it. Now, where would your stop be on this particular one? Because this looks like this might be going a little bit more sideways. I'm going to get rid of these lines so that we can see what's going on. And what I would do, okay, well, there it closed, okay. I would put my stop just under that swing. See, we're only risking 9 ticks because that's a high, a low, and a little higher high. It does identify this as a secondary swing because see your high, your low, your higher high. That's your primary swing right here, and this is your secondary swing. So if it holds that, we'll be okay. If not, we'll go into, well, we're not going to go 6. I didn't want to go 6. Oh, well, we'll go 6. I meant to close that trade out first, but let's see if it works. It's a predictor trade. I bet it doesn't. But we got it set on exit on close. What do you think? Scared? Scared? You think it's going to take us? See how support held? Secondary swing. Now that'll usually make anybody nervous, by the way, and especially if you had like 6 contracts. You're taking a pretty good chance. 10 ticks is $600. So I would probably, more than likely, well, we're back under. I would have taken a contract off already or 3 of them. Let's just see if it doesn't take us out. We'll just stick with it. What always makes you nervous is they check them twice. Most of the time when they get a little deeper pullback, they check them twice. Still okay. I think predictors can turn out to be a pretty good little friend. And like I say, a lot of our people, rather than just trusting predictor like an auto type, where it fires automatically, they watch the trade and then they just go, okay, you're coming down to predictor. I'll draw a little trend line, and then they get in on that bar. Because we felt a little bit of heat, so you would have been about right getting in on that bar to begin with. See if it's going to take us? Nope, not yet. That's a higher low, by the way. There you go. Now, I would more than likely, in a case like this, you probably want to try to just get a little above this top here. See how it's just barely been doing it? So just put your target just a little above. See, you got about 2 ticks here. So I'd go about 2 ticks above that one and then ride a runner. And I'd probably even close out some if it hits that top and pulls back at all. We got 3 left on. I'm going to watch the bars themselves. Out of 2. See how it just barely took out that high again? And that's really the way to do that. Good old predictors. Let's kill this trade and let's see if we can get another one. Okay, we're going to go, and that barely took out that high, but it still qualifies in my opinion, so we're going to do it one more time. Let's see how many swings we've actually had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 9, so they're going to run out of steam before long. They haven't been to the top yet, though. Let's see if we can get another one. We'll go for predictor. Now, I got that going like 500 times, so this may go too quick. That's weird that 500 times is not even fast on gold. If that was on YM, that would have been going like a house afire. You ever run 500 times on YM lately? It'll be so fast you can't even see the charts. Okay, let's look and see, just the way we teach and everything, where do you think the next predictor is on this chart? Anybody? If you're going to get a higher low, you draw your line basically. Okay, this is support right down here. All right, so if you're going to get a higher low, you need to look to the left to see they just came down to here, so they haven't checked here yet. Everybody see that? So this is pretty much right here is where I would expect this trade to come to, right in that area right there. But even at 500 times normal speed, I'm not getting it moving. What does everybody think about? Have you ever looked at those predictors and think, wow, those hit there quite often. Well, how about a 1, 2, 3 reversal type of a, deal on them? Yeah, that came a little bit closer than I want. That's going to come lower. I'll trust it though. It's a predictor. I'd have to put my stop under here because that's where my support is. Everybody sees that, right? So we need a higher low or we're going to get stopped out. I'm thinking it's going to come right down here. And it did. See? Always look to the left, trade the right. That's why even if predictor, for instance, would have asked for that trade there, I would have been drawing my line just like we do in the room, and I would have taken the trade at the line. But you're still okay on it. You're not feeling heat, so it's an okay trade. Okay? So predictors, what does everybody think? You think maybe that's something you should think about as one of your 7 trades? Because they can be some really good trades. And another thing I personally like about them is if you want to, just do like little scalps, when they're come down to predictor like that. To give an example, let's say that we just wanted to do, just smaller trades to give an example. Maybe they won't take out these tops. You see what I mean? Because dollars is all that counts. That's what we're all after. So let's just do next trade. We're just going to do a 10 and a 15. And you can even turn off the other targets as far as that goes. And I've got this thing going 500 times, but that's how slow gold is. That's 500 times is actually moving this chart like 30, 40 seconds at a time. See that? Isn't that amazing? Let's go ahead and protect this. Since it's broke up here, we'll go ahead and use this swing. Okay, so let's see if a couple more predictors will work out. And then I don't guess we'll get to stealth tonight, and that's not a big deal because I wanted to show predictor, by the way, is going to be more of a little a good retrace type trade. Stealth's going to be more of a breakout trade. Stealth trade will usually be a pretty decent trade unless you're in chop, but these predictor trades even work in chop quite often, and especially if you do it more the conservative way, where you kind of draw a little box. For instance, couldn't you actually have a little region drawn And let's say that you had your little region and you said, okay, I'm going to put it like a 1, 2, 3. See that 1, 2 bar? That's pretty much a little 1, 2, 3, isn't it? So couldn't you just do something like this? And see, basically this is saying, okay, if this bar goes down and this bar goes up, then we'll be breaking out this little box. See there? And we just went off a predictor, but we did a little bit more on a conservative way. Okay? Now, I don't normally take this predictor, and anybody know why? I explained it earlier, but let's see if everybody catches it, because looking at your charts in real time and everything is critical to making money. That's going to stop us out. Maybe. I would actually, well, too late. What the deal is on this, so notice why I wouldn't have taken this trade. What did we talk about earlier? Predictor, high, low, higher, high. Predictor. It had a low, high, so this predictor was good. But then it didn't take out the high, so guess what? This predictor, even though it worked out, is not what we call a good predictor. Now, we could have turned this back on and gotten that again, but I didn't turn the region on. But if we do get a higher low or a higher high again, then we'll trust the next predictor. You can still trust the predictor if you box it. Okay, let's see if we can get, if this doesn't happen to work this time, we'll see if we can get another one. There's a predictor again. Little 1, 2, 3. That's actually even better right there. See that predictor right there? Came down to it. Now, I do like it when it does an ABC like that, but you still got to be careful with those, and I put a nice tight stop on it too. You're only risking 8 ticks on that one. And 8 ticks times 2 contracts is still, $80 even on, no, it's it's 160 on gold. But that's the way you can actually do these predictors. And I'll bet you, if you actually tried this again on the next predictor, it probably worked. Even when they're sideways like this, just don't get greedy with it, and understand that since that didn't make higher highs and everything just then, that we may not just keep going up. We may go deeper and then give you another good trade. Okay, let's see if that bounces right there. It should. Barely any kind of a trade on that one at all, wasn't it? Okay, let's see if we can get another one. I'm going to go with resist. I wanted it there. Oh well, we're going 500 times, so I didn't get my choice. One thing about gold, you do have plenty of time to draw your boxes, but we missed that. It's no big deal. Let's see if we can get a trade. And we're just going for 10s. Let's put our stop tight. See, we lost on a trade or two. It's not a big deal. The only time it's a big deal is if it's first 2 trades out of the gate. That's when it's a big deal. But, then you've either got to stop for the day, or you decide that, hey, I'm going to trust some of these and box them in, and trust some of this and box it in. Because where is on this chart right here, where is your identified low? Because this is going to tell you how to be careful with these that, for instance, you start getting these lower highs. We're not breaking down yet, though. But see, your identified low is right here. See your high, your low, your higher high. So this has all just been noise since then. And see what they did? They barely took out support. That's what I meant to do, was grab that and turn this on like this, because I would have wanted that trade the moment it creased back up through that resistance. Okay? try it. It's almost 8 o'clock, and I can't do this any faster, but we're going to try and see if one more trade does it. And by the way, if a trade finally doesn't do it, then the best thing to do is then wait to see if it's going to actually break the other direction, because we are running out of steam. You can tell it. But will another trade actually work again, though? Try your predictors and see. Does that make you nervous right there? You got two contracts. Gold, you're thinking, uh-oh. But look, just check forward. That's all it did. That always makes me nervous too, because when you're trading, that's dollars, and you're thinking, well, I could give away some of this because I got in at a little breakout. Now I got to put my stop literally under here, so I've got to stick with this trade. Now, what you can do, if you want to even, of course, is to even add to the trade, but I'd be more careful in chop like this. But if you did add, for instance, like if it touched the top of that, I would not let it even pull back into it with your two that you add, if it even adds. Because see, that's a resistance area right across there at mid-band. So will it work and add? We'll see. Yeah, you had a lower high. That's right. That's the whole thing about, and predictors still work, pretty well on that. But keep in mind that there's more chance when you don't get that higher high that your predictor might not work out, or for more than a scalp possibly. Okay. Now I would probably, yeah, we're going to go to break even plus. It turned out to be decent, but here's as high as it's going to go, I'll bet you. Or lower. See, you've had lower highs each time. So I'll just about bet you that it doesn't go that high. Why does anybody think that? Because you can see by looking at the chart. So you've got a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, you have a lower low. You should get a lower high again. Now, if it doesn't and you stay in the trade, that's fine. And if it stops you, no biggie. There you go. And then you look for another one, right? Now keep in mind that now that this is starting to get lower highs and everything, they've got a predictor all the way down here now, okay? I can't speed this up anymore, but I'd like to see if this actually does this, because I see this all the time on a phantom trade. Let's see if it does, just for the fun of it. Now remember, this works pretty well in sideways chop too. When they're just chopping around in a range. Just to always keep in mind that you don't want to just turn predictor on, and you got to realize that each one of these is a region. That's all it is. So by just turning them on, for instance, if I do long here, to give an example, if it comes down to a predictor, it'll fire, or if it even comes up through one of these predictors, it will fire. So you don't want to really do that. You want to pretty much stay with the trend on predictors. I wanted to put some rules in them, with the programmer. We just haven't gotten around to it. But some of those rules that would be, to skip the next predictor if you don't get a, higher high on a long, to give an example. Because notice how well they worked until you didn't. Oh, I left the region on. Doggone it. I didn't want the region on. Let's kill it. We want predictor. We'll try one more. It's a little bit higher. Let's see if we get one. See if and we get one. And then we'll be through with this little episode here. There we go. Uh-oh. Is it going to take us out? We'll find out. Went through our predictor. Let's see if we can get where we can put our stop higher than it is at 15 ticks. It needs to close up. Otherwise, I'm going to put it here anyway. Exit on close. Let's look to the left to trade the right. Yep, still okay. They tested it, didn't they? See how they wick those? 1 tick. We're going to go ahead and take our coin, even at mid-band, because this may not even go any higher than this. This looks like this is starting to break down a little bit. Anybody watch it in the afternoon, what it did at all? I bet you'd be amazed if you actually took some other predictors. You know, as long as you got even little higher highs, and you may not have gotten that the rest of the afternoon, but it may have gone sideways or something like that. See, that one worked out. Felt some heat on it though. Now, the way I would have liked to personally traded that to show you, but I wanted to show you how to use the predictor feature itself. But wouldn't you have actually watched this like this, and it did this thing, and wouldn't you have just kind of boxed it in, like getting in on a close of a bar? A lot safer trade. Yeah, that's boxing it in. But anyway, that's a short lesson, an hour lesson on utilizing the predictor. You know, don't go banking your whole account and things like that. You know, just practice with it and see what you think. Because I find that they're pretty good, especially if you go by a little bit of rules. And the rules that I like to go by are on, you know, if they thrust up, they pull back and they get a higher high, then you can trust that next predictor pretty easily. Okay, when they start getting choppier, you know, cut down on the contracts as far as that goes if you want to, or just go for scalps. Okay? I hope everybody enjoyed it. Did you get something out of it? Predictors. We'll talk about stealth, I guess, next week, because this was all about predictors tonight. But like I said, keep in mind, you don't have to, you know, just turn on the predictor. We made it where you can, but keep in mind that you can always put a little box. You know, as long as you can kind of draw trend lines and things like that. You know, for instance, if you saw this lower high like right here, you know, they won't always hit them, but look at this trend line right through here. See, it's awful close. See how it just came within a tick of it here. It hit it here. It'll probably hit it here and then roll over. You know, that's what they do. You know, they're getting lower highs so far, but they're still actually, you know, you've got a low down here, a high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So basically, you know, they've taken out what we call our medium swing. They're testing a little bit more what we call our larger term swing, and that's pretty much down in here. See, because you have a high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and you know, this is a little bit deeper swing. It's more of a phantom. All right. Bottom trend line was working too, wasn't it? All right, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's trade again tomorrow. Again, be very, very careful with the equities. I'm personally, you know, trading those more at the open that I call the room at 8 o'clock. You know, not doing a lot of junk trading. You know, those things will eat you up. Because by the time you figure it out, they've already bounced. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. See you in the morning.